beyond the town borders. They had to be off the road by 9 o'clock. An enslaved person in the South was not allowed to go from plantation to plantation without a pass or a letter that said and it had to be signed by his master. And they had to say that it was okay for him to be on the road. Well, walking around in those woods was a great big ugly white man with big bulging eyes. And he carried a baseball bat-shaped stick that had a piece of rawhide attached to it and a parrot on his shoulder. And he would jump out and startle the slave. And then the parrot would say to the enslaved person, "Whose man are you?" And the enslaved person had to answer to the parrot, "Master's man, sir." And if he didn't have a pass, then the overseer would whip him. Now the patty roller would whip him. And this next song illustrates how the enslaved could make fun of the patty roller. The song says, "You try to make me go and I won't go. You try to make me stay and I won't stay." And finally, at the end of the song, the patty roller is called a lady frog. So listen and find out what the slave hopes happens to the patty roller. Now this song is audience participation, real participation. So y'all got to follow the bouncing Dana. And if you don't get it right, I'm gonna make you do it over. Okay. Well, old Bill rolling in this morning. Said, "Oh, Bill rolling in this morning, this morning. Oh, Bill rolling in up the road and back again. Big eyes and a double chin. Very well, I'm proud of you. Some of us really did escape by train. And in 1848, Henry Box Brown had a friend pack him in a box in Richmond, Virginia, and sent him to J. Miller McKim in Philadelphia. From Philadelphia, McKim sent him to New Bedford by way of Boston. In New Bedford, he met up with his sister, who was already there, and with some other friends from Richmond. Slaves, men and women, formed the backbone of the South's railway labor force of track repairmen. They were called Gandy dancers because of the dance-like movements used to align the tracks. The track lining instrument was made at the Gandy Manufacturing Company. The physical movements of the railroad crew were synchronized by a caller who sang a chant that ensured safety and pacing as they lined the track.
Oh boys, is you right? We done got right. If I could, I surely would stand on the rock where Moses stood. Oh boys, can't you line 'em? Oh boys, can't you line 'em? Oh boys, can't you line 'em? See Eloise go lining track. Oh, Moses stood on the Red Sea shore, smoked the water with a 2x4. Oh boys, can't you line 'em? Oh boys, can't you line 'em? Oh boys, can't you line 'em? See Eloise go lining track. Oh, Mary, Martha, Luke, and John, all them disciples dead and gone. Oh boys, can't you line 'em? Oh boys, can't you line 'em? Oh boys, can't you line 'em? See Eloise go lining track. Oh, way down yonder in the holiday field, the angel working on my chariot wheel. Oh boys, can't you line 'em? Oh boys, can't you line 'em? Oh boys, can't you line 'em? See Eloise go lining track. Oh, the reason I stay with my captain so long, every morning give me biscuits to rear back on. Oh boys, can't you line 'em? Oh boys, can't you line 'em? Oh boys, can't you line 'em? See Eloise go lining track. Oh, Mary and the baby sitting in the shade, she figured on the money that I done made. Oh boys, can't you line 'em? Oh boys, can't you line 'em? Oh boys, can't you line 'em? See Eloise go lining track. One thing I hate about lining track, these old bars about to break my back. Oh boys, can't you line 'em? Oh boys, can't you line 'em? Oh boys, can't you line 'em? See Eloise go lining track.
Story time? Story time?
Sure, why not? Let's have a story.
Okay. How about a story?
Yeah, how about a story?
Okay, I will tell you a story.
Okay,
Oh,
here
can
we
we
go.
go like a microphone?
No.
I think they can hear me.
Okay.
This story is about friends who let other friends down. Oh, the hyena was sitting beside the road, crying and crying. Oh, I'm so hungry. He watched all the other animals walking by. Oh, everybody's full. Look at them all falling asleep. And here I am, starving. Oh, poor me. He cried and cried. Along came the jackal. Hey, buddy, what's the matter? He said. Hyena said, look at me. I'm skin and bones. I haven't had anything to eat in so long. What am I going to do? Jackal said, well, buddy, I know a place where we can get some food. Hyena jumped up. He said, you do? He said, oh yeah, just follow me. So down the path they went. And they walked and walked and walked. Then they finally came to a really tall fence. The hyena looked. He said, well, what's this? Jackal said, there's food right behind the fence. The hyena said, well, how are we going to get it? Not to worry, my friend. I know a way in. So he carried the hyena round to the side of the fence, and there was a hole. He said, right through the hole. So he squeezed and went himself in, and he said to the hyena, come on. The hyena squeezed his way in. Sure enough, behind that fence, there were sheep and goats. The hyena began to drool. Sheep and goats. I'm so hungry. I'm so. He said, now listen, you can eat the sheep, but don't eat the goats. They make a lot of noise. And men live here. If they hear noise, you'll get caught. Okay, said the hyena. So the jackal ran over and he grabbed a great big sheep and he started to eat and he said, oh, wait a minute. big sheep. I'll take the little sheep. So then the hyena said, what a good friend. So he ran over and he ate that sheep, all skin and bones. He ate so much his stomach was just dragging on the ground. And of course the jackal ate just a little bit. And the jackal said, you know what? These sheep taste good, but those goats taste really good. I think I'll just have me a little bit of goat. So he ran over to the goat and bit the goat on the leg. Of course the goat began to holler and bleat and make a lot of noise. Up jumped the men. They heard the goat and they ran outside and they said, let's get out of here. Come on, hyena. The jackal ran. He squeezed through the hole. And the poor hyena had eaten so much with his stomach dragging on the ground, he ran to the hole and he tried to squeeze through. He pushed and squeezed, and pretty soon the men were on him. And they began to beat him with sticks and beat him and beat him. Oh, the poor hyena, he cried and cried and cried. He finally squeezed through the hole and he dragged himself on down the path. And as he dragged himself, he cried. And he didn't cry because the men beat him. He cried for a friend which was not really a good friend.
That was a good story. We didn't even hear that one before. A letter from Thomas Garrett, abolitionist and station master of Wilmington, Delaware. Esteemed friend J. Miller McKim. We made arrangements last night and sent Harry Tubman with 6 men and 1 woman to Allen Agnews to be forwarded across the country to the city. Harry and one of the men had worn the shoes off their feet, so I gave them $2 to help fit them out.
I got shoes. Well, you got shoes. Well, all God's children got shoes. When I get to heaven, gonna put on my shoes. I'm gonna walk all over God's heaven. Walk all over heaven. Walk all over heaven. Well, let me tell you, everybody talking about heaven ain't going there. Heaven, don't you know it? Heaven. Well, I'm gonna walk all over God's heaven. I got a robe. You got a robe. Well, all God's children got robes. When I get to heaven, gonna put on my robe. I'm gonna strut all over God's heaven. Strut all over heaven. Strut all over heaven. Well, let me tell you, everybody talking about heaven ain't going there. Heaven, don't you know heaven? Well, I'm gonna strut all over God's heaven. I got a song. You got a song. Well, all God's children got a song. When I get to heaven, gonna sing my song. I'm gonna shout all over God's heaven. Shout all over heaven. Shout all over heaven. But let me tell you, everybody talking about heaven ain't going there. Heaven, don't you know heaven? Well, I'm gonna shout all over God's heaven. I got a crown. You got a crown. Well, all God's children got crowns. When I get to heaven, gonna put on my crown. I'm gonna shine all over God's heaven. Shine all over heaven. Shine all over heaven. Well, let me tell you, everybody talking about heaven ain't going there. Heaven, don't you know heaven? Well, I'm gonna shine all over God's heaven.
This next song relates to the freeing of the slaves. There was a civil war, also known as the war between the states. The North and the South were fighting over the institution of slavery. The North won. President Lincoln signed a proclamation stating that the slaves were free, but the slaves were not taught to read. It is thought that if they were kept ignorant, they would not rebel. However, there was always one who, through his wit, learned to read anyhow. The slaves heard they'd been freed, but they weren't sure, so they got John. This is John. They got John to read it to them. John?
Thank you. General Order number 3. The people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves, and the connection heretofore existing between them becomes that between employer and free labor. Well, brought the letter.
A letter?
Yeah, a letter. And laid it on the table.
On the table?
Oh yeah, you can't make this up now. No one could read them like old John. Read? Read. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Read them, let them go. Oh, read them, John. Read them. Read them, John. Read them. Read them, John. Read them. Oh, read them, let them go. Oh, read them, John. Read them. Read them, John. Read them. Read them, John. Read them. Oh, read them, let them go. Well, it's 1 by 1, 2 by 2, 3 by 3, 4 by 4. No one could read them like old John. Read them, let them go. Oh, read them, John. Read them. Read them, John. Read them. Read them, John. Read them. Oh, read them, let them go. Oh, read them, John. Read them. Read them, John. Read them. Read them, John. Read them. Oh, read them, let them go. Well, John brought the letter and laid it on the table. No one could read them like old John. Read them, let them go. Oh, read them, John. Read them. Read them, John. Read them. Read them, John. Read them. Oh, read them, let them go. Oh, read them, John. Read them. Read them, John. Read them. Read them, John. Read them. Oh, read them, let them go. I'm on my way. I'm on my way to the freedom land. To the freedom land. I'm on my way. I'm on my way to the freedom land. To the freedom land. I'm on my way. I'm on my way to the freedom land. To the freedom land. I'm on my way. Oh Lord, I'm on my way. If you don't go, don't hinder me. Don't hinder me. If you don't go, don't hinder me. Don't hinder me. When you don't go, don't hinder me. I'm on my way. Oh Lord, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. I'm on my way to the freedom land. To the freedom land. I'm on my way. I'm on my way to the freedom land. To the freedom land. I'm on my way. I'm on my way to the freedom land. To the freedom land. I'm on my way. Oh Lord, I'm on my way. And Zinga's daughters. We'll come back if you have any questions for us before your program is over. Go well, peace be with you. 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 Abani kakwe, okutalame ku baby. 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 Go well, peace be with you. 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 Abani kakwe, okutalame ku baby. 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 Go well, peace be with you. Go well, peace be with you. Go well, peace be with you. Go well, peace be with you.
I have a thing, yeah, I'm curious about something. Maybe y'all can have an answer. The Emancipation Proclamation, the General Order Number 3 applied to the people in Texas. But it kept going until December. The last two states were Delaware and I believe Kentucky. But I don't hear anybody talking about any celebrations in those states. Do you know of anything? You would think that at the end, when everybody, all the states are free, that would be another celebration, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I haven't heard anything. Have any
Juneteenth
of you?
now. National holiday is Juneteenth now.
But it's Juneteenth. But it kept going until the last states were in December. So in December, then you would think there would be something else, right? Nobody's heard that? Just food for thought.
It's good to know. I think that speaks to, I celebrate the acknowledgement because it brings awareness to the big picture. But we hope that this bringing awareness to Juneteenth in Texas brings us to learn about more things about how there were other states and that they went on to December, because all of this is not worth anything if we start to stifle the learning of our children and our adults, right? Because we can learn to right? So exciting that we have come to this part. I think sometimes there's a little controversy about why we should celebrate or why this should be a national holiday. And I encourage you to lean on why it's important. It allows us an opportunity to recognize that we did do something, or they did finally do something after they got 200 extra years of free labor in Texas, but they got 200 years plus 6 months in Kentucky, you know. And so, you know, I mean, these are the kind of conversations that we want to be able to have. And so I encourage us to not to be so critical about the reason why we can't change the history, but we can make history. But you might have some questions. Yes.
Can you tell us, I'm assuming you're named after Queen Nzinga?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about her?
I will defer to my mother. I'm her mother. Nzinga was a queen in Africa, I think, in the 16th century. And then golden queen.
Yeah, and then she was a queen in Africa. And during her reign, none of her subjects were ever stolen or taken into slavery. She wasn't having it. She was pretty bad. You could look her up. She was tough. Yeah, something like that movie. Was that one of those movies that had the
Woman King.
Yeah, Woman King. Yeah,
It's modeled after.
it's modeled after.
It's not exactly her story.
But there were several African queens who were pretty bad, you know. They were, but I didn't know about the other ones. I had read about this one, and I thought, ooh, that's a good name for a queen. Yeah, she really made a mark.
Her name wasn't Anne. She married, part of what she did was when the Portuguese tried to invade her country, she married a Portuguese man and changed to Catholicism, in order to ensure the safety of her subjects.
That's right.
And so that's why you'll see, huh? Yeah, so that was why that's why her name is Anne, Queen Anne. She took on, you know, those of us who are Catholic, I'm not, but don't you get like an extra name when you get, right? I would say baptized or christened or whatever you go. Confirmation. Right?
Take a saint's name.
Right. See? I almost know something. So, you had a question.
Yeah,
What you and then the young lady in red. Second.
my question was, how or where did you all find all these songs and wonderful bits of history and story?
Yeah.
We know those songs.
Did you all hear the question?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys, okay.
Okay, yeah, we learned them in church. We didn't know that they had messages. We just thought they were church songs. We didn't know. I didn't learn that until in the 60s when all the Martin Luther King and all that stuff was going on. And then I started paying attention, and then I started doing some research, and then I said, oh, we got something here. Yeah, that's pretty ingenious. I thought that we're kind of smart.
I think also, right, so there's a lot of things that I bet that we've learned or we do, or even words that we say that are associated with historical things, that until you do the research, you don't even know what that is. We sometimes do that in terms of when we bumble and say things that might be offensive. One of the things that we refer to as a cookout is a picnic, right? And the picnic is not a warm thing. That's when people would gather and watch blacks be lynched, right? So it was pick up, and right, and that so often we're comfortable with that word, right? And then we have a celebration, but actually, that was what a picnic was. And so, like I said, so there's things that we don't even know that just become part of our culture. That's why we have to learn. And when we're having those conversations, we don't want to be angry with people that don't know, right? Because you don't know what you don't know, right? And then if someone brings that to your attention, don't be defensive, because you can't learn if nobody can't tell you nothing, right? Right? And we should be in this ongoing experience of learning and growing. Right, and building much better relationships. So we learned those songs because they were in church, but the church was another place for the Underground Railroad. And it's a lot of what we do, all our rites of passages, right, in all of our cultures are associated with songs. Right? You can't imagine getting married without a song. You can't imagine your baptism without a song. Funerals, full songs. Right? You know, and all those songs have messages. And so the enslaved people had to be creative, and the masters and the big houses enjoyed entertaining, right? Remember, you could see like the fiddlers, right? You got a lot of credit if you could be in a house and you could make some music, right? I believe that transcends to comedy, right? A lot of your comedy is a lot of opportunities for people to be able to say and do things that they couldn't just say in a conversation, right? When you talk about songs, right? We could sing, oh, how I wish I felt to be free, right? I'm singing something that's, so I can hear that, but I can have a conversation with someone else who doesn't want to have that conversation. Well, what do you need about being free? You're already free. You know, I pulled myself up from a bootstrap. Any of those kind of conversations might be more palatable when I'm singing you a song, right? When I'm writing you a poem, you know? And so it's easier to help people listen, right? And maybe when they hear the song, it might reach their heart or their consciousness or their curiosity and have them to do some more. So we didn't know what we were singing about when we started singing about it, but found it was important to know what you're singing about. I tell that to them kids now, because some of them songs, you need to know what you're singing about, even if you're singing it, right? You can make a decision, but you need to know with some consciousness how to make a decision and not have things imposed on you. My young lady in the red shirt had a question.
Well, I was just wondering, how did all of you come together? How was the group formed? And when?
I guess I have to tell. All right. Back in 1960.
So 1960, from some of y'all, that's a long time. Some of us not so much.
I started playing in a band, and I'm a bass player, and in 1960, women didn't play basses, but I did.
What kind of
Electric bass, Fender bass, R&B, top 40. All right. So I joined this band called Sam Kimball's Band. I had asked them, you know Sam? All right. Well, I want to tell you, I'm from Sam Kimball's band, and she's from Sam Kimball's band.
My father used to listen to Sam Kimball on the, record player.
Yes, Henry Present. Yeah. And so I played for years with them, and then I went on with another group. And then Al Pitts and the Bitter Seeds, did you hear of them? You hear of Doris Allen and the Motivations?
Those are all pretty local, popular musicians. Al Pitts was from New Britain,
Yeah.
right? He was, and Doris Allen was more a Greater Hartford
Yeah.
group. But you know how you have your local famous bands, right? So Sam was probably a regional band.
Well, yeah, all of them were. We played from upstate New York to New Jersey, all, and we didn't advertise, and we worked every weekend, and we worked during the week too. We played Mondays at the Institute of Living, Thursdays at the Old Folks Home, the Elks, on Bellevue Street in Harvard. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday we're on the road from upstate New York down to New Jersey. One night dance, I guess that's what you call it. We played dances. Do they have dances now? Yeah, but we played dances and we were really busy. Live music. We played 4 hours. Yeah. We played three and a half and take a half-hour break and then the next half hour out. Yeah. But anyways, all of that to say, after I got through all of those other bands, I wanted to start a group of just women because we were the novelty, just the girls in a man's band. So I wanted one with just women. So we started out singing songs, spirituals, and we go from spirituals to gospel to R&B, top 40, yeah. And when I decided to do that, I got Donna, I found her at Hole in the Wall.
We were in a production of For Colored Girls.
Yeah, For Colored Girls.
Outside with the rainbows and
Yeah, I got her from there. Taffy I already knew, because then Dana's my kid, so I didn't have to look for her.
I had to do what my mama said.
And Allison's
We're
my
the young
sister,
people, she's still the boss.
so I didn't have to look for her. And I found Joanne in Hartford playing with Nick Mathis, yeah. And I asked her, would you like to play? 'Cause she was playing this stuff, now this was, So that's what we did. We would sing the songs, the spirit, in the bar. We started in the bar.
We were at the Lido.
The Lido.
If anybody knows where that was.
Yeah, so we were there, and we'd start out with the spirituals, the a cappella stuff, and then we played instruments, and then we break out the instruments and do the R&B. Yeah. We played right through O.J. Simpson's, all the motor when he was riding around out there. Yeah, we could see the TV. So then I decided, I found out about all this African American history stuff that I had no idea of. And I also had become a member of the Connecticut Freedom Trail. And I thought, I think we could do something else. So that's how we got started doing this, was because of the Connecticut Freedom Trail, and just doing the spirituals, and then finding out the messages, the story behind them. And so we've been doing that since 1994. Yeah, since 94. And that's just the name of that tune.
And we also sing, so we also still do R&B stuff together. So if you want to see us in Plainville at Norton Park from 6:30 to 8 on July 6th, we'll be in the park. And you'll get to see this cool lady who will be celebrating her 86th birthday in July.
She always says it.
At Norton Park in Plainville. So Norton Park has their music series, and we'll be there on July 6. If you don't remember, if you go, I think, on the Town of Plainville website, you can find us. And if you're not doing anything on Monday, because I am the co-chair of the Anti-Racism Task Force for the Town of Plainville, we will be holding our very first Juneteenth celebration down in the center of town on Veterans Memorial Park. It's on the corner of Whiting Street and Maple Street. And if you could come, we're gonna have an action-packed, fun day of bringing community together. And there'll be an opportunity to find out some of the other things that we do as well. There's gonna be young people there, children from the town middle school. We have a No Place for Hate anti-bullying group, and we also have Social Change Association in the high school. And so they are partnering with us as well, also with a Queen Anne and Zinga Center, who is our organization over the daughters that does program in the greater New Britain area for young people. So if you need more information about that, we can share that with you as well. I don't know, Krista, am I holding you up? Yeah, more, we don't want to hold up you if you got something else to do, but if there was any other questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
I think answer questions and then we're ready to close up.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Quick question, even though most of you are like 29, are you thinking about legacy and how this continues to the next generation?
Queen Anne and Zinga Center brought her up through the ranks, and a lot of the children that you can see in Plainville are coming from the center where Dana runs the program, and she deals with a lot of the youth. And some of them have been with you for how many years? My children, or my daughter at least, was a graduate from her center.
Yeah. And her grandson is in it now. We've been together for over 30 years. But you know, this whole thing is about legacy, right? I mean, I think, I'm hoping that, like, you know, some writer will come and tell our story. I have to tell you, if anybody has any access to really telling a story, you need to get their story. The Sam Kimball sound is irreplaceable. They're the only two left capable.
My husband played saxophone with Sam, and right now he's in a nursing home. He stopped playing saxophone.
But he played until he couldn't play anymore. I mean, and I think the nice thing about the musical group is that we have young people playing with elders. So, and those kids have been with us a long time. One of the young ladies that was with us, named Sabrina, was 9 when she started, and she's going to be a junior studying music at Howard University. Has written her own songs, created videos throughout the program. We also traveled internationally. There's been 5 or 6 of me and young people who got to travel internationally with the legendary Betty Harris, where she took us to London and Spain and Austin, Texas. We did about a 6-year trip with her till she relocated to Florida. Last summer, she invited some of us back to do a gig in Texas. Again, they invited us back, and so we get those opportunities as well. You know, we teach them about the importance of discipline, about not just playing music and singing, but understanding the value of rehearsing, understanding the value of being on time, understanding that this is a business, being in a position to be available for that, you know, discovery. And so Anya is a marvelous vocalist, and if you come to Plainville, you'll hear her soloing. We usually throw her out in the solo land. But Anya has been asked to perform, she was asked last year to perform for program in Springfield, Massachusetts, where she was on a ticket with Linda Ramsden. Let me get it right. Yeah. Right? And where she also gave her some, and so she kind of opened for her, which is really nice. So we've been asked to do lots of things. So it's been pretty exciting. I think I answered.
It's gonna be a lot of young people at Norton Park. If you come out here, those young people are gonna be the ones mostly singing. Okay, so come on out and see them.
And they sing old songs. They're so good.
Yeah.
If we make them do the stuff we like.
Honoring Tina Turner. And the young people, they can do it.